Hi, this is Larry London. I welcome you to Border Crossings, and today we are joined by a singer-songwriter from the UK, originally from Sweden, and now she's sitting in a home studio, I assume, in London. We're joined by Nina Nesbitt, who is with us. Hello, Nina. It's great to have you here on The Voice of America.
Hello. Yeah, it's lovely to be here.
Lovely to be anywhere, I guess, on this beautiful day, this beautiful fall day. Now, so I understand the new album is Elskar, which is an album that came out originally a few months ago. Then you've just released the deluxe version of Elskar.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference between the regular and the deluxe version?
Well, it was quite a long period of time writing the album, obviously because of COVID and whatever. So I had a lot of songs that didn't make the album, and I feel like it has kind of two sides to it. It has the poppier tracks and it has the more acoustic tracks. And I was like, oh, do you know what? The album feels very daytime. And I had a lot of tracks that felt a bit more nighttime. So we did a deluxe kind of package called Elskar Nights, which is kind of the more like moody tracks or like the campfire versions of certain tracks. I just think nowadays, like, you can't really go away for too long without having to like build it all back up again. So I feel like people have waited long enough for the new music and wanted to keep them fed.
Yeah, and you wrote all of these songs back home in Sweden.
Well, so I'm originally from Scotland, but I'm half Swedish. My family are in Sweden. So I visit there a lot, and I was visiting my gran as I normally do. And my publishers were like, you should do some sessions. Stockholm's a really good place to write. And obviously they have amazing musical history. So I did some writing sessions and we wrote half the album in like 5 days. So yeah, just absolutely loved it. And I just think they have there's such amazing producers and writers over there. So it was really cool to collaborate with them.
Mm-hmm. So in living in as many places as you've lived and traveling as many places as you've traveled, you know, Glasgow, Sweden, London, the US, and other places as well. Do you get inspiration for the songs you write from your travels, from the different places you've seen?
Yeah, definitely. I was very inspired by touring America, actually, because I'd never been to America as a kid. And then I got to go to LA when I started doing music. And then the last album really took me around almost the whole of America, which was amazing. And I do feel like even that like really inspired this new album. Like, I've always grown up with American pop music and, you know, some of it's Swedish written, but yeah, definitely like going there and just being around so much American pop music and seeing the sights, you know, so many beautiful places, or going over to Sweden. And yeah, I think wherever you go, it inspires you. And I think you can like hear a lot of like, I don't know, I see like a lot of Swedish things when I listen to the album, like a Swedish winter. I feel like sonically it kind of sounds like that, but definitely lots of different inspirations.
Mm-hmm. And here in America, we've obviously been very influenced by Swedish music, ABBA, and many other artists who've come out of Sweden and have had the Swedish music invasion and the success of Sweden. And, you know, so you're yet another tremendously talented artist to be in Sweden, working in Sweden. How much of you is still tied to Scotland? I mean, did you leave Scotland at an age, or you still have a Scottish accent more than a Swedish accent?
Oh yeah, well, I'm not fluent in Swedish. I grew up in Scotland and I left when I was 17, so I feel like I'm very Scottish. I think it's kind of hard to lose. It's his own thing, so it's not really gone. And I go back quite a lot, but it was really interesting to explore the Swedish side to my family as well, because I'd never really had the chance to do that as much as I have like over the past few years. So yeah, I think it's like a lot of like Americans, like a lot of you guys are Irish and stuff, and people go back and trace their roots. And I guess that's what Sweden's been like for me.
It's interesting that people from other countries, Sweden, Scotland, London, they sing in the songs in English, and it sounds American English. You cannot tell when they're singing where they're from.
I know. Do you know what? So many people say this to me because they're like, why do you sound American when you sing? And I'm like, I'm not even like consciously putting it on. I think being a kid and I just wanted to be Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera, and like I would try and emulate their accents, I guess. I can only assume. And also it's hard to sing in Scottish. It's like a harsh language in some like the vowel sounds. When I went for vocal training for the first time last year, she said to me, she was like, you need to change your vowel sounds because you aren't, it's going to be hard. You're making it hard for yourself. So I think it's a bit of that as well, but very strange.
How about acting? You're a beautiful girl. Do you want to act?
Oh, thanks. I don't know if I've got it in me.
Oh, come on. There's many people from Scotland right now. There's a big picture, that's out with some very talented Scottish actors. And
yeah. I think never say never, but I don't know. I feel like, do you know what? I'm a really bad liar. Like I can't keep a straight face, so I'm not sure how good I'd be.
We're talking to Nina Nesbitt, and Alscar, the deluxe edition, is now out, and we'd like to get you to do a song for us. Would you sing something for us?
Yeah, sure.
What are you going to sing?
I'm going to start with a song called Pressure Makes Diamonds, which is on the new album, and it's all about being a woman in the music industry.
All right, Nina Nesbitt, and a song called Pressure Makes Diamonds, and she's got a new deluxe version of Alscar out. What does Alscar mean?
Älskar means to love in Swedish. So it's actually quite confusing. It's not like a perfect translation. It's the verb for love. So yeah, but it's a word that I've grown up hearing a lot. I'd hear my mum speaking Swedish on the phone to my gran, and she would always sign off with like älskar dig or whatever. So it's a word that I've always been familiar with, and the album is more or less about love in all its different forms. And I just think it's like a nice sounding word as well. I think we're in the age of people wanting to learn things. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
scrolling through TikTok, I'm like, teach me something or make me laugh. So a few people were like, really? You're going to call the album a foreign word with a foreign letter in it? And I was like, I think people will be up for learning.
Yeah.
So,
It's common. There's a singer named Churches who uses a V instead of a U,
That's true, yeah.
So there's a lot of different vowels and letters in words these days. Now, did you grow up on a farm? Are you a farm girl? Did you grow up in the city? What's the background of Nina Nesbitt?
Sort of just suburbs, I would say. Just grew up in like a very small town, and then I moved to a village. Had most of my teenage years in a little village, so a lot of farms. I'm not of a farmer family, but a lot of farms in the area. And yeah, like touring America, like I definitely seen like a lot of parallels, because I feel like there's so many small towns that no one's heard of. And yeah, no one's really heard of where I'm from. It's called Balerno.
Balerno.
I would be shocked. But yeah, I moved to London when I was 17. And
wow.
I think everyone needs to leave if they can at some point. I think it's important when you come from a small place to like get out and see.
Did you finish school before you moved to London?
So our school system's like a little bit different, I guess, but I left early, but I made sure I got enough grades to go to university if I needed to, but it was never my intention. If that makes sense.
And growing up, you were listening to Britney and Christina, is what you said?
Yeah, like I don't come from a musical family, so it was just chart music. My mum, obviously being Swedish, was very into like ABBA, and also a lot of pop stars, Mariah, divas, Whitney, people like that, Celine Dion. That's what was in our house. So I think in a way, like it's actually taught me to have a really pop ear with melodies. So, there's some people that are like, yeah, I grew up on jazz and my parents taught me, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, no, like I love that I grew up on pop music.
Were you classically trained at all? Or because you said you had addiction coach, but did you not, your singing training and all that? No,
not at all. I had my first vocal coaching last year with this lady called Lorna, who's amazing. But yeah, it was just kind of self-taught. I picked up a guitar at 15 because I discovered Taylor Swift, and I thought, this is what I want to do. This is like, it's a young girl telling her own stories, like creating her own narrative, playing instruments, and I just thought it was amazing. So just went online.
And now Taylor Swift discovered you, and I understand she's a fan of yours.
Apparently so, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad fan to have. She's giving you props, in several different situations on several occasions, and I know she said you're an artist to watch, to look out for.
I know, it's such a full circle moment.
So are you going to join the Taylor Swift Girl Squad and hang out with her and maybe do a song with her?
I'm here.
Nina Nesbitt is our guest here on Border Crossings. And, you had a career moment. You had a highlight. You were on stage in Glasgow with Coldplay.
Yeah. It was, I said to my friend the other day, I was like, I think that's the highlight of my year so far. I was supporting Coldplay at the stadium in Glasgow. I'd never played a stadium before, so this in itself was like a big deal. So I did my support slot, and we were sound checking the second day, and there was someone with like a hat on watching the sound check. I was like, oh, who's that watching our sound check? Didn't really think anything of it. Turns out it was Chris Martin. And then, I was like on my way back to the dressing room, and the band were calling me like, get down here now. Chris Martin wants to speak to you. And I was like, oh my God. So, and then he just said that he loved my songs and he wanted to ask if I would come and do a duet. So I went on stage with them that night, and it was like such a surreal experience.
Did he give you any advice, or did he have anything to say other than he's a fan of your music?
He was just really he was really good to talk to just about music in general. Like, he was really complimentary of my lyrics, just like the storytelling, and it was just inspiring, like watching their show as well. And like their songs are so like, they're so simple but so powerful, like, so I don't know, they just really get you, like and I think like there's a lot you can learn from that, and just how they put on a show, like how they are as well. They were the nicest band to support. Like they do have that reputation, but I can confirm they're just so lovely. So it was just, I think it was just like really inspiring few days.
And you mentioned how simple he was, wearing a ball hat and just watching you. I've met him before. He's always got a ball cap on. He's always off to the side. You wouldn't know it's Chris Martin. He's just a regular guy, and you watch him. So, but what a great experience that's been for you. And as a singer-songwriter, I have to ask this question. I always ask artists who write their own music. If somebody came to you and they said, you have to pick one thing, singing or songwriting for the rest of your career, what are you going to pick?
Easily songwriting.
Really?
Yeah, like I actually, like, I don't love singing. It's something that I've had to work on and learn to enjoy, because I want to put my songs out there. So I feel like the singing's just like a vessel for like songs.
Have you been asked to write songs for anybody yet? Like Taylor Swift has she called and said, write me a song?
That'd be nice. Yeah, I've written quite a few songs. Maybe they're more UK based, but like a lot of DJs. I've written for Jessie Ware, The Shires. They're like our UK country band. Like a lot of DJ stuff. I love writing all different types of music, so definitely want to keep that kind of going.
Nina Nesbitt is talking with us, and we're talking about Oscar, the deluxe version of her newest album. You're going to do another song for us?
Yeah, I'm going to do a song called Teenage Chemistry.
Teenage Chemistry. Here's Nina Nesbitt on Border Crossings. And it's Teenage Chemistry. I don't think that needs a lot of explanation, but what was the motivation for that song?
So, the album in general is about love. And I was like, well, let's start at the beginning. And it's about when I first started dating my now boyfriend, who, I was 18 at the time. So it was very much like one of those kind of like wild, like crazy relationships in my head, whirlwind, going out all the time. And just that kind of, when your whole world just revolves around dating when you're that age. And And there's a TV program called Skins that I grew up watching. And I was just like, if I could make a piece of music that sounded how Skins was, you know. Mm-hmm. So I was very inspired by that, and to kind of start at the beginning. And, you know, I think like that feeling doesn't go if it's the right person, and just kind of about keeping the spark alive. But yeah, it's just about, you know, that kind of crazy rush.
You dated him when you were what, 17, 18, you said?
18, yeah.
And you're still with him? How old are you now?
28 now, yeah.
Wow, that's a lifetime for a relationship.
No, we did break up so we've only been together 7 years now, but yeah, still.
Oh, wow, because normally songwriters, they've got you know, like Taylor, your inspiration, she's got, you know, so many songs about so many past loves. Where do you get material from if you're in a happy relationship?
Well, I've kissed a few frogs in my time.
That's funny. Nina Nesbitt is our guest, and you are going back on tour. If you're not already on tour, I understand you have another leg of your UK tour.
Yeah, so did UK, some Europe, and then next year I'm hoping to come to America. So fingers crossed.
That would be great. Now, you did put out an album here in the US. The sun will come up. The seasons will change. It did very well for you here in the US. And was it only an American release, that album?
No, it was international. So yeah, it did really well in the UK as well. And I think we hit like 1 billion streams on it, which is crazy. But yeah, I had no expectations for that album. I just put it out. Like I said, I'd only been to America like twice maybe to write in LA, and literally took me around the world. So yeah, I got to go to New Zealand and Asia, and yeah, it was amazing. Yeah.
Do you have favorite places you like to go?
My favorite place in America probably would be Nashville or Texas, anywhere in Texas, just because I feel like they have that Southern hospitality. Everyone's really nice. The food's amazing. Just a good laugh. It's a good night out. Amazing music. Like, I'm so inspired by country music. Yeah, I think everywhere you go is so different, but
right, sure.
Like, I never really understood before. People say, oh, like, so many people have never left America. And I was like, that's crazy. And then when I went around America, I was like, oh yeah, like, you don't need to leave. You have everything. You have the sea, you have the mountains, you have the desert, you have the forests. You know, so it's hard to pick, but I think Nashville, I'll go with that.
Only 1/3 of all Americans have a passport.
Yeah,
so when you talk about being so insular, so locked in, and I lived in Asia for a number of years, so I think it's kind of, there's a lot of world out there that people should go out and see. You know? Yeah,
I understand why people don't though.
Now, where elsewhere around the world do you like to go and perform? Because we're broadcasting to 100 countries right now. Have you been to Japan?
No, and you know what? It's on my list. I am so desperate to go to Japan, and I want to go to Brazil. They're like the two places still haven't been. I'd love to go to South Korea. One of my favorite places was New Zealand, just because it's so far away from the UK, and it's so beautiful, and everyone was so lovely there. I'd love to go back there. But definitely, like, Asia really interests me, because I think I like to go, you know, if you're going really far, like, I want to go somewhere where the culture is really different and I'm going to just have an experience. Yeah.
Having lived in Asia, I worked a bit in China, and I know if you go perform there, they're going to be pretty amazed by blonde hair. They're going to want to touch your hair. They don't see blonde hair often.
Really? Because I've been to Hong Kong, but it's
Hong Kong, very different.
Very westernized, but I've never been to like China.
Yeah, go to China, Guangzhou, Beijing, Shanghai, perform there. They're gentle, they're generous, they're genuine, but they will touch your hair.
Oh, God.
Nina Nesbitt is talking with us, and I'm reading about a charity that you're involved with, the Equal program. What is that?
Oh yeah, so the Equal program is Spotify, and it's all about women in the music industry kind of getting recognition for the behind the scenes stuff. So it's like songwriting, engineers, producers, mixers, etc. And they selected me to be part of the program because I wrote and produced some of it. I think produced 4 tracks on the last album, and I've done another one. Like, I've done quite a few. So I think it was just kind of like pushing that and hopefully inspiring more, younger girls that are wanting to get into production and stuff. Because I feel like there's so many coming through now, especially with, there's so many YouTube tutorials and stuff that you can do. And yeah, it's kind of like that, really.
How did COVID impact your career?
It's interesting because for me, like, I feel like I find it really difficult because I love being in a room with people and having a chat and writing a song or being on tour. It was really difficult, and not knowing when it was going to end, or when we were going to at least be able to travel, and would gigs ever come back. So yeah, it was a really difficult time, but I feel like I've been lucky to be able to still do it after. So I can't really complain too much, but yeah, it's interesting. Some of my friends absolutely loved it, and they were so creative and productive, and I was like,
Well, we're glad COVID's in the rearview mirror, and now you're on the road touring, and you have a new album out. And 23, what's plans for 23? You said more touring?
Yeah, more touring. I'm not going to leave it too long before the new music again. So
great.
Yeah, back in the studio, getting that ready, and then the rest will be revealed.
So can you tell me about your next project? I'm sure that you've already, as a songwriter, you're already writing. Something's probably already in the works for 23. What's up in the plans for next year?
I'm still figuring it out. I think it's hard to just make a decision, but I've got a few songs that I really love, and I've also been writing a lot for other artists, which has been really fun. So I have some songs coming out next year with them. But yeah, just writing, experimenting, seeing what's working, what's not, and then put some stuff out soon.
All right. Nina Nesbitt's going to do another song for us, one more song. And what's the last song?
This song is one of my favourites on the record. Seems to be a fan favourite, and it's called Heirlooms.
Heirlooms.
Yes.
All right. Here's Nina Nesbitt. On board Nesbitt, Heirlooms is the name of the song. Tell me about that song. Where did you get the inspiration? I know what an heirloom is, but where'd you get the inspiration?
Yeah, so Heirlooms is one of the last tracks I wrote, and I did a session on Zoom, which is a bizarre thing to do. I was sat with my guitar chatting away, and since the album's about love, I wanted to think about all types of love, not just romantic. And this song is about motherhood and kind of like the thought of it. And the writer I was writing with had just had his first kid, and he was just chatting, and I was just like, oh God, I can't imagine what that would be like. And I was saying, oh God, don't you worry, like you'll pass down negative things to your kid and whatever. And we're having a conversation about that, and it was a song basically just saying like, I hope that you get all the positive parts of me and the other person, and like kind of seeing those as heirlooms, like passing them down as heirlooms instead of negative things. Because I think like a lot of people in my generation worry about mental health and how that could affect their kid and stuff like that. And it was just a conversation we were having, and I just thought it was a really weird subject to have a song about, and it felt kind of something that me and my friends talk about. And I'd heard a song by Brandi Carlile called The Mother, and I just loved it. And I thought, I love how she's talking about that subject, because you don't often hear that in songs. So it's kind of where the inspiration came from.
Are you starting to hear that maternal clock ticking? Are you feeling motherhood in the future?
Well, I love my dogs and I love my songwriting.
Those are your children right now.
They are. I have many songs.
You have many. Now, where is the most interesting or unusual place you ever got inspired for a song?
Probably my last album, The Sun Will Come Up, The Seasons Will Change. The title track I wrote when I was at the gym, sat at the pool. So I wasn't actually like doing anything at the gym. I was just sat. I'm always so inspired near water. I don't know what it is, but the whole chorus lyric came to me, and then I was like, this is the album. This is what the album's called. This is it. So yeah, I don't really know, but that was quite random.
Well, she's got the new deluxe version of Alscar out right now and planning a tour. What are the holidays going to be for you? Christmas is just around the corner. So what's Nina Nesbitt doing for Christmas?
Oh, well, we like to have Swedish Christmas, Christmas Eve, and then we have Scottish or British, whatever you want to call it, Christmas, UK Christmas, Christmas Day. And then my boyfriend's family will come on Boxing Day. It's like we long it out. We get as many Christmases, as many different types of food in there as we can. So
it's all about the gifts. It's many days of gifts.
Yeah, exactly.
So what is a Swedish Christmas like?
So they have something called a Yule board. A lot of people, it's kind of like a buffet. So just like loads of weird things that you wouldn't think of, like pickled herring. I don't personally eat that, but my mum likes it. So we do, all sorts, ham. Yeah, we did it last year for the first time, and I was like, this is a really different approach to Christmas, but I like it.
How about kissing under the mistletoe? Do you do that in Sweden?
I don't know, actually. I have to check on that one. I don't think I've ever done that.
Talk to your boyfriend. Tell him to get some mistletoe.
Well, I have actually made all my own Christmas decorations this year for.
Wow.
Yeah, I've made some giant candy canes for the garden.
That's
from like
great.
a PVC pipe. So I've been quite DIY. I find this guy, he lives in Middle America somewhere, and he does tutorials on how to make Christmas decor. So that's been fun. But yeah, it's a festive house.
And in case the boyfriend's watching this interview right now, what is it that Nina Nesbitt wants for Christmas?
Oh.
A big old diamond ring?
God, do you know
Maybe
what?
not.
No, I'd like a pair of Uggs.
A pair of Uggs?
Yeah.
Oh, you're easy to shop for, a pair of Uggs.
No, not very materialistic, really.
Well, we thank you so much for being on the show. And if people around the world want to check in with Nina Nesbitt and find out more about your touring schedule and about your plans and your other posts, where can they go and find you on social media and on the web?
Just Nina Nesbitt. Nina Nesbitt with 2 T's at the end. Streaming services, social media, website, it's all there.
And we are broadcasting, as I mentioned, to quite a few million people around the world. And in our audience, it's also the troops who are serving the military. Is there anything you'd like to say to the worldwide audience, including the troops?
Hi, everyone. Hopefully I'll get to sing for you soon. And what else should I say? Thank you for your service to your country, even though I'm not from there. Still appreciate you.
Yeah, well, peace is something we're all hoping for, right?
Exactly.
That's something that everybody around the world wants. Well, thank you, Nina Nesbitt, for joining us.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet you. And when you do come to Washington, D.C., please come into our studios. We'd love to have you on the show live.
Thank you.
Nina Nesbitt is our guest. Alscar is the name of the new album. It's the new deluxe version of Alscar. So please do pick up a copy from Nina Nesbitt. And thank you so much for watching Border Crossings on VOA TV.